When your marketing content is geared towards attention and not action, you end up in an awkward spot with your buyer. They've engaged, they've expressed interest, maybe miraculously they've even booked a meeting with you. But when it's time to actually evaluate your product more seriously, they don't have what they need to move forward. There's no case studies, no technical documentation, no content that answers the questions they're being asked internally. And instead of a quick and easy sale, the deal just stalls. Not because they're not interested, but because your content couldn't help them take the next step. To speed up your sales cycle, you should be giving buyers the content they need to make decisions, overcome objections, and keep deals moving. Then you can keep momentum going and stop losing deals to indecision, silence, or internal blockers. Let's take a deeper look at how this all works. The first thing you need to understand is that real buyers do not move in a straight line. Your funnel may look great on paper, but in the real world, buyers don't move step by step through your funnel. They kind of bounce around. They skim a blog post, they go silent for 2 weeks, then suddenly show up with a pricing question, and then they lurk for a while and they're forwarding links to their team. And then they're collecting info about you from multiple devices, sometimes outside of business hours. It's really hard to track. So your job isn't to force them into a journey. It's the opposite. You need to create content that supports whatever journey they're on. They may be going to Mordor with, with the ring of power. If they're in the awareness stage, they're thinking about the problem that they are or will be facing. And at this point, your buyer might not even know that your product exists. They're just trying to understand their pain, spot a pattern, or get smarter about what others are doing in the industry. And there's a few kinds of content that work really well in this awareness phase. Educational blog posts, they're excellent. Industry POVs like podcasts, interviews, and opinion pieces. Stuff that's really easy to consume, especially like in headphones on a walk or in their car. Share some real world how we fixed it stories from your internal team. Actually talk about things you did to help your customers, or even share stories from your customers, like through a case study or an interview or something. And short explainer videos or product intros, super helpful. Now remember, in the awareness stage, it's too early to be thinking about converting them. You want to establish credibility, so the more the buyer thinks about their problem, the more they associate you with the solution. And the more content you provide, the more they're just going to consume and keep you in mind. Now the second stage, consideration stage, that's when they're asking whether your solution might actually work for them. Like they know you exist at this point, but maybe they're skeptical. Tech buyers usually are. Or maybe their boss and the team are skeptical. They usually are too. They all want to see proof to convince themselves and everyone else around them that your solution will work. And they also want to make sure your solution is compatible with their environment. It's going to work great for their team. There's not going to need to be a lot of training or, uphill work. And they want to make sure that their tech stack works fine with your product. At this point, you really want content around case studies with real metrics, and if you can, recognizable company names, brand names. Integration guides and architectural diagrams, these are huge. Security and compliance documentation, competitive comparisons, so you can help them decide that your product is better than the competition. And honestly, unpolished demo videos, not fancy high production demo videos, but unpolished ones with a developer or an engineer just sitting at a laptop, or a product person just sitting at a laptop, actually just showing the product in use. You don't have to put a ton of time and attention into it. Just make it authentic and actually walk through solving a problem. Because this is the stage where your buyer is going to get more invested. And this is also the stage where the sales team is going to need more support. Content is going to either deliver or your deal is going to slow down. I mean, if you don't have the content, you're kind of screwing yourself. And then let's assume that your buyer wants to keep going. They enter the decision-making stage. They're looking for all the proof they need to sell the product internally, reassure themselves this is the right decision, all that. Now, you may have convinced your buyer with the content on your site, but as we've already stated, they're not the only ones who need to say yes. For many technical products, the technical user is unlikely to be the decision maker or the wallet holder. So at this point, the buyer is probably looking for approvals from their manager, the CTO, security, procurement, legal, finance, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. The bigger the corporation or enterprise, the more approvals will be necessary. At this phase, The content that works here is ROI calculators, executive one-pagers that cover all the high-level managerial concerns, procurement and security checklists so you don't put them in a compliance bind, onboarding timelines and rollout plans, and custom slide decks that your buyer can actually copy and use internally. If you don't give your buyer the tools to build an internal case, you're really relying on hope, which isn't a great strategy. I can tell you that firsthand. So this is how content becomes part of your sales engine. Of course, this is like a very, very high level overview of how you can use content, like take content and align it with each stage of the buyer's journey. But I think you get the point. Content greases the skids for tech sales to happen without any of those pesky click here to talk to sales situations that literally 80% of prospects avoid. So when you have the right content for every stage, your marketing is no longer just supporting sales. You're actually accelerating sales in a few key ways. Sales has better conversations. They're more informed and the buyer's more educated. Buyers move faster because they have more reassurance about buying your product. Fewer deals get stuck on unanswered questions because your content is there to answer those hard questions. And finally, technical stakeholders don't need to be pulled into every call because, oh my goodness, they hate that. So your sales engineers will be much happier knowing that they aren't needed on every single call. All right, if you need help with this, we need to talk. At Edify Content, we don't write content just to fill a calendar. We build technical sales content systems with case studies, guides, landing pages, demo scripts, email sequences. All of that stuff we make aligned with the way that your buyers actually evaluate products. If your team's running into gaps at any stage of the journey, we can fix that. Let's talk. You can just email me or click the contact button at edifycontent.com. If you missed the last video, go check it out. We covered what your sales team actually needs from marketing. And the next video is going to cover what I like to call the MVPC, or minimally viable product content. And I'll give you a brand new acronym to use to mystify your coworkers, because you need more of those. So if you've got questions, or if there's a piece of content your team's been struggling to create, leave a comment, let me know, or send me a note at anthony@edifycontent.com.